Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. Well, it's been a unprecedented week just passed, and we're reaching the end of the weekend. NBA basketball, NHL hockey, a lot of the other sports have started resuming games, but I do want to touch on this stoppage, the NBA players that decided to boycott the games, and it led to all the leagues deciding to take a pause, and a much needed pause so we can reflect on many aspects of the social injustice and things that have happened since George Floyd months ago and Jacob Blake just in the last week. So I've decided to hook up with Jason Cameron so we can shed some light on many aspects of this. And thanks so much for your time today, Jason. I appreciate it a lot.
Yep, no problem. Glad to be here.
Excellent. So that pause was, as I said, much needed. The NBA has decided to form a coalition, and I'm going to read a little bit of the statement that was released. The NBA and its players have agreed to immediately establish a social justice coalition with representatives from players, coaches, and governors of states. They'll be focused on a broad range of issues, including increasing access to voting, promoting civic engagement, and advocating for meaningful police and criminal justice reform. There's a lot more to that statement. I welcome you to read it on our website and on our posts on our podcast platforms. But really excited that finally the NBA has formed a coalition. The NHL had formed their hockey coalition months ago, and now the NBA has been able to get their voices heard and get this coalition. Were you excited and happy to hear that this is another step?
Of course. Yeah, man. Like it's awesome to see that these guys are obviously clearly that invested in the process of trying to affect change, not just, wear the t-shirts or say the slogans or whatever, but to actually affect real change. And they're going about it the right way as far as I'm concerned. And then, with the NBA being unified on this front, not just the players just going off and doing it by themselves, but I mean with the owners and the NBA administrative staff and all of that all logged in together. And then also to manage to get some of the governors of certain states on board. It's excellent. It's a move in the right direction, and it's hope for the future for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Another aspect of this was that they're going to open up all the arenas where NBA teams and NHL teams house the particular teams. Sorry, I can't. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out. But all the NBA arenas are going to open it up for voting, which is good. It's definitely something that we see on the back of a lot of the players. Please vote. This is a very crucial vote in the history of U.S. and it's great that they'll open that up. It might decrease the lines. A lot of voters have always complained about long lines and not having that ability to go there and quickly make their vote heard and move on. I was frustrated by the last federal vote here. There was like a 3-hour lineup to place my vote, and it was pretty shocking occurrence when you arrive there and you can't believe the line that you see. And I drove around to some other polling stations and it seemed like the same vote all over the place. So that was a really great move that the league made along with the players.
Oh yeah, just providing the facilities, large facilities at that, to help facilitate the voting process is amazing. It's amazing that everybody could come together and decide that yes, we'll use our arenas to help people get their votes in, because at this point in time, I think you can definitely say without a shadow of a doubt, every vote absolutely counts. Point in time, every vote absolutely counts. And if you want to see effective change, you got to get out there and you got to make sure that your voice is heard. You have to vote.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I was really happy that the NBA took a pause. NHL was criticized a bit for not taking the pause, but then they really stepped up the following day. Really got together behind the coalition that the NHL Diversity Alliance has been able to create, and yeah, it was great to see the Vancouver Canucks were spearheading that initiative. They had contacted Ryan Reeves and said, "We really want to stand behind you and let us know what we can do to further your movement." And Bo Horvat, I guess, was the main spearhead for that with the Canucks organization behind him. Yeah, it was exciting and really nice to see that the NHL got in line and did the same thing that the NBA had just done.
Oh yeah, man. We all understand that the NHL does their population of visible minorities is rather small compared to the other professional leagues. But I was so happy to see that they took the step necessary for change, for the fight for social justice. And I was even happier to see that the Canucks were forefronts in that push to make sure that, what, we need to be a part of this process as well. We need to make sure that it is not okay what's happening in the US and around the world at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy, and yeah, it was nice. It was really nice that the world was able to reflect again and put this top of the news cycle, and we wouldn't have this forgotten, swept under the rug after a few months, and yeah, back to the action. They were able to schedule some games starting yesterday, and unfortunately, there was in the basketball world, there was a couple of deaths with Clifford Robinson and Lute Olson. And then there was a death in the entertainment world, a guy that has played some very prominent roles in some sport movies, and one of the biggest movies of all time, Chadwick Boseman. His family released the details that he passed away at the age of 43 from colon cancer, a 4-year battle that most everybody didn't know about. He kept it private, and through the filming of a lot of his most important movies, was sick and going through this battle, and unfortunately he lost the battle. It shocked me right to my core, and yeah, I wanted to let you know, and yeah, I'm sure it affected you a lot, because I know he was a meaningful guy to you and the Black community as a whole.
Oh yeah, because of just of the how well he represented so many of the icons, whether they be fictional or non-fictional. He was just a great man and a great actor. And of course, it's a shock to see a man of that magnitude all of a sudden pass because, as you said, he kept his sickness private, and so nobody knew that he was sick. I was I was definitely shocked at his passing and saddened as well. Um, but I'm sure that the man is in a better place, and his legacy that he's left is going to carry on through the decades for sure. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one Black Panther, and it's Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they were talking about the sequel coming out in 2022, so they would have had to start filming it any time now. That was the first Black superhero, and he was a really a beacon of light for so many Black people that really wanted to have a Marvel superhero. That Black Panther, when you watch that, I think you told me that it was the favorite movie that you've ever witnessed, ever had. He just did a phenomenal job, and everybody that put that movie together, one of the most incredible things ever created.
Yeah, for sure. It was empowering to see a movie of that magnitude do so incredibly well at the box office, because you know what? First and foremost, it's a great story, and it was led by a great actor playing a very significant role for the Black community, which was literally the first Black superhero ever created, and the man represented it well. So may he rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, he played Jackie Robinson in the movie 42, representing Jackie Robinson's number. It ended up actually being on Jackie Robinson Day that he passed away. I thought that was shocking news. They had moved that date from April 15th because of the pandemic, and it became August 28th. That was amazing that it ended up on that same day where he had represented Jackie Robinson so well on the silver screen.
Yeah. It was maybe poignant to a certain extent, like because he did represent Jackie Robinson. He did show on the big screen all of the trials and tribulations that man had to go through as he tried to play baseball, the sport that he loved, at a time where tensions were quote unquote high, so to speak. So um, yeah, he did a miraculous job with that, and he represented what Jackie Robinson was all about in baseball, as a man, as a black man, as a proud black man in the U.S. of A.
Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously Jackie Robinson breaking that color barrier, being that first guy that was able to play in the major leagues of baseball as a black man. Amazing story and an incredible life that he lived. He also portrayed Ernie Davis, Football Hall of Famer, in The Express. He portrayed Thurgood Marshall in the movie Marshall. Portrayed James Brown, an icon, the Godfather of Soul. Just so many iconic roles, and there's going to be some specials tonight on TV for anybody that sees this. They're going to show the Black Panther movie tonight, and then they're going to do after the movie they're going to do a tribute to him. So don't miss that. It'll be incredible. He was a huge fan of the NBA. He had a lot of really close ties to the NBA. I saw pictures of him with many players. Kobe Bryant picture was pretty poignant to see that. Both of them now passed away. He was, a big champion of the NBA league, loved the sport, and they did a really amazing tribute to him, as well as Clifford Robinson and Lute Olson. Talk a little bit about Clifford Robinson, one of the players that played 18 seasons in the league, made the finals a couple years, won a sixth man, had a phenomenal 18-year lengthy career, and Clifford Robinson was really prominent in Portland. Played for a lot of other teams. I always remember him as a Blazer and how great he was then. Talk a little bit about your memories of Cliff.
Yeah, Uncle Cliffy. He was a great player, six-man player. You came off the bench. He was, I would say, in the modern NBA, he would be considered like a spread four because he could guard, he could hop out, he could hit the three. He was a very versatile player, and he was a very, very good player. And also too, he brought around the fashion of wearing the headband. He always wore that headband well, and it was nice to see the players show their appreciation of what he did for the sport by wearing their headbands as well. A lot of players wore their headbands during that time, and Clifford Robinson was a big part of the Portland Trailblazers' success in the early '90s, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, he sure will be. Yeah, he was the tallest player at the time, 6'10", tallest player to hit 1,000 3-pointers. A lot of guys that size didn't go out beyond the arc and shoot those threes. He played 461 consecutive games, which was a record at the time. Led the Blazers to two championship finals against the Bulls. Obviously, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and all those guys were a little superior and won those championships. But second best team in the league at that time. Won the Sixth Man of the Year at 92, 93, and tons of really amazing tributes. Out of his 18 seasons that he played in the NBA, he only missed the playoffs 1 year when he was with Golden State. Nice to see the Trailblazers wear those headbands and have a moment of silence before the game for Clifford Robinson, one of the best ever. And then also there was some tributes to Lute Olson. He was the coach of the Arizona University for 25 years. Put a lot of guys into the NBA. Took over a program that was really not very good in the Pac-10. When I covered the Pac-10, I had an opportunity to talk to Lute, really genius, very smart basketball guy. And I'd really like to go over a lot of the players that played for him, that made the NBA. But yeah, talk about what he did for the Pac-10 and raising prominence Arizona up to the top of the heap for many years.
Yeah, he most certainly did that. Lute he took on a program that just basically really didn't have a basketball program, and he made it into a powerhouse. And then because of Lute Olson, he was able to better a lot of guys' futures by getting them into the NBA. So a lot of players that have played for Lute or that got into the league owe him a debt of gratitude, which I'm sure they paid that forward multiple times by just doing what he's done for them by helping the youth and helping like the next generation get to that level. Lute Olson is always going to be considered one of the great coaches of college basketball, as he should be, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, he sure will be. Yeah. Made the Basketball Hall of Fame, made the Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah, just really amazing coach for that Arizona program. They used to call Arizona University Point Guard U because it had produced so many amazing point guards. Steve Kerr, Mike Bibby, Damon Stoudemire, Jason Terry, among many of the others. Some of the other guys at other positions: shooting guard, small forward, Sean Elliott, Gilbert Arenas, Richard Jefferson, Luke Walton, Andre Iguodala. His grandson is an assistant coach with the Houston Rockets. His granddaughter is assistant coach with the Phoenix Mercury. They'll be able to continue on his legacy and be able to be part of the NBA family. There was a lot of really touching tributes. The Richard Jefferson talk on the jump this past week. Really poignant and great to hear how good of a man he was, how big of an advocate he was for Black Lives Matter and the furthering the Black movements. And it was really nice to hear all the great stories about Lute. I think he was a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he was a fantastic man. He was a great human being. And like he was for sure an advocate of the Black Lives Matter movement, and he just did so much for the Black community as a whole, and it's always appreciated for a
Yeah.
person of that magnitude to do what he did to further the cause, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it was great. Lived in a fantastic life, 85 years old, and yeah, congratulations. Our condolences go to the Boltzmann family, the Robinson family, the Lute Olson family, and all the people that have been touched by their lives. Just remember them, for the great things that they accomplished in their life, and we will remember them with a lot of grace and incredible achievements. So we have to move on to some of the games now. We should, I guess, talk about the opening match in the Eastern semifinal between Toronto and Boston. There was a lot of people that said that Boston's going to give Toronto a ton of trouble because of their depth. They've got scoring from so many different areas, and it proved to be the case today in the 112-94 win Boston had over the Raptors. I'm just going to go down a bit of the scoring for some of the teams. For Boston, Jason Tatum had 21 points, 9 rebounds. Marcus Smart, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Kemba Walker, 18 points, 10 assists. Jaylen Brown, 17 points. Daniel Tice, 13 points. And Williams, 10 points. Down and down their bench. Pretty incredible effort by Boston, and Toronto was in tough today.
Yeah, Toronto was in tough because Boston, what they did was they hit their threes, man. 17 threes, I believe, throughout the totality of that game. And Toronto was cold. They didn't hit from outside.
Yeah.
Toronto's definitely going to need to shore up their D against those guys going forward. And also, too, they're just going to need to hit their open shots when they do have their open shots. Today, obviously, clearly wasn't their day. But the next time they play, I'm sure that they'll be more on point when it comes to their three-point shooting.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a big difference. Yeah, it just seemed like Toronto was a little bit off. It's great to see Lowry back. I don't think he was 100%, but nice to see that he's actually been able to hit the court and play some valuable minutes. He had 17 points, 8 assists, and six rebounds today, so pretty good performance. But yeah, I did notice a lot of missed open threes by the Raptors, and yeah, just not as solid of a defense that we normally see. Usually, they're able to really reduce the amount of successful possessions on the other side, and yeah, I think this week has been tough with those games being postponed. I think the only thing that it was an advantage for the Raptors was getting Lowry back, but I think we'll see a different game in Game 2.
Oh yeah, I most certainly believe that we'll definitely see a different game from them in Game 2. Like anybody and everybody within the league, it's hard to switch off that mindset from one thing to the next. You know what I mean? And maybe the Raptors struggled with that a bit, but as pros and as professionals, I'm sure they'll get it together. And the other thing is too, their pick and roll defense clearly needs to be better than what it was today.
Yeah.
Clearly needs to be better than what it was today. So
that's true. Yeah,
they will get it together, and you're going to see a better showing from the Raps in Game 2.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, so that next game was on Tuesday. Yeah, keep tuned to Complete Sports for more details of that. The other series will start tomorrow, 3:30 tip-off our time. Milwaukee, Miami. I think this is going to be a heck of a series. I think we mentioned it last podcast. Yeah, I'm super excited for this. Miami's depth and you keep pointing out to be having the inside-outside game. I think they're going to give Milwaukee a lot of trouble, and I think we're going to see a really long series.
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely see a long series. I think Milwaukee might be playing a lot of zone to try to shore up or try to cover all those shooters that Miami has. But I guess we're going to see exactly what kind of defensive measures the Milwaukee will take. But I think they might use that to mitigate all the open shots that Miami's going to get. Because, Jimmy Butler's going to do his thing. He's going to drive the lane. He's going to do his kickouts. And then on the opposite end, well, Miami just has to contend with the league MVP. They got to contend with Giannis. And Giannis is going to he's going to get his. It's everybody else that will have to step up. And that includes for Milwaukee, Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton. Those two need to play well for Milwaukee to get past the Heat. They need to play well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, let's switch to the West. The Lakers were able to knock off Portland. Obviously, once Damian Lillard left the bubble and then had to go tend to his injuries, that really didn't bode well for Portland being able to advance any further. Yeah, I guess Lakers finally asserted their dominance and took the victory. Yeah, it was dominating performance by LeBron James and the Lakers as a whole.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give Portland credit where credit's due. They scrapped. They fought in that game. But unfortunately, they just didn't have enough. I believe they dressed 9 players because that's all they had. There's 9 players. So they've been clearly decimated by injuries and such. So I give them credit, though. They fought as well as one could, being as handicapped as they were. Because, if you're missing pretty much your best player in Dame time, Damian Lillard, it's going to be tough for any team to try to rise up and win against a team of that magnitude, against the LA Lakers.
Yeah. Steve Nash was the oldest player in NBA history with a 30-point, 10-assist game at 36 years, 85 days. LeBron James just came in a little bit below that, 35 years, 243 days, just ahead of Elgin Baylor and Jerry West as the oldest players with a 30-point, 10-assist game. LeBron's, a absolute marvel at how in incredible shape he is, and how he can lead the Lakers to a big victory. It looks like they'll be facing either Houston or Oklahoma City. Houston's got the 3-2 lead. They play that game 6 tomorrow. Houston, has been able to assert their dominance, and I think they probably will win one of these next 2 games. Thunder could push it, but what are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? Houston's figured out a way to play defense against Oklahoma City, especially when their defensive stopper, Luguentz Dort, is on the floor playing against Harden, which is we'll play all the other guys and we'll just leave Dort wide open. Because unfortunately, the man can't really shoot that well. But I did like how OKC somewhat countered that by using Dort as a screener and then rolling him to the hoop, which they should use more of, so that at least he's a threat going to the hoop. At least he's somewhat involved in the offense, because when they do that spread offense and they just have him waiting out at the wings, they're just going to leave him open at all times. They're basically daring him to beat them, and that's not going to work. They're not going to win games of that nature. And then I noticed offensively for Houston, they were driving more. They weren't settling as much for threes. That was a huge thing for Houston to do that. And also, they attacked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a lot. You know, they always swung the ball over to his end, because I didn't realize it, but he is a very poor defender. He is a very Ole type defender. So that's something that I think that young man might want to address in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess both Canadians have things to work on. They're both young. Most of the really good NBA players go into off seasons, figure out what their deficiencies is, what are their weaknesses, deficiencies, and things, and really work on them to eventually become strengths. They're as I said, young guys. Not fully well-rounded yet, but Dort has been really fantastic on the defensive end. Shai Gilgeous had a really amazing season, and was able to take OKC with the help of others really far this year. And but you're right. They're just, I don't think they're ready yet. I think Houston's got the experience getting Russell Westbrook back, even though he wasn't super prominent yesterday. I think that'll lend to them being able to win this series and take it into the next round against the Lakers. Okay, so then the other team that's expected to get out of the West are the Clippers, and they finally dispatched the Mavs today, 4-2. Kawhi Leonard had 33 and 14. Just being able to prove that he's one of the greatest players in the NBA and going after a third title and a third different franchise. Luka Doncic had 38, 9, and 9 today, just 1 rebound, 1 assist away from a triple-double again. Once Kristaps Porzingis went down, I think Dallas was definitely overmatched in this series, but you got to be impressed with the Mavs, Luka, and everything, but the Clippers are just a little bit step above them.
Yeah, the Clippers had too many weapons for the Mavericks to contend with. They just have way too many weapons. And after that buzzer beater win by Luka, kind of woke the Clippers up a little bit. Kind of woke them up. So for the Mavs going forward, their future is going to be ridiculously bright. Ridiculously bright. Because number one, the Mavs have a great owner. His name's not Dolan. And and also too, like just having that combination of Doncic and Porzingis, those two are going to be fantastic for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Long time. But then going forward now with the Clippers, it seems that they've got their act together. It seems that they're now gelling. They're finally playing together as a unit, because they haven't been a full unit for so long, even during this year, during the season. So now that they have all their guys together, man, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. They're my favorite to win this year.
Wow. Yeah. Well, defensively, I think they're the best in the NBA, and they, as you know, you and I have said, defense wins championships. So, yeah, I think that their depth, having Kawhi have that championship medal and experience, and being able to take over games when he wants to. Yeah, you're probably right. Clippers should be one of the favorites, definitely. They are going to face either the Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets. That series has been exciting and really fun to watch, with Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray going against each other. Donovan's had a little bit better of Murray. They lead 3-2, but super impressed with the Canadian and what he's done. And they're going to be playing tonight at 5:30. They're going to try to extend that series and go for a 7th game. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been so fun to watch these two young guys battle it out every night.
Oh yeah, man! Like this series, these games have been amazing, amazing. It's been amazing, man. Uh, I have no idea who is favored in this particular game. I would love to see Denver win so I could get to see a 7th game, because I'm greedy. I love good basketball, and I'd love to see these guys keep going at it. Yeah, Jamal Murray has been playing out of his mind in this series, and I hope that continues. Actually, you know what? I know it's going to continue. And the same goes for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is pretty much, it seems like he's almost taken on the offensive load of himself and Bogdanovich, who would normally be there with the team. So I expect tonight's game is going to be a barn burner. I expect it to be one of the best games played in playoffs during these playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we're less than an hour away from tip off, and yeah, I think Denver's gonna give them the big run for their money, and it would be really fun to see a 7th game in this playoffs. The East was crazy. There was only one victory by any of the teams that didn't win. It was almost a clean sweep. The West has had some very tight series, and no tighter series than this one. This will be fun. Don't miss it. Tune it in tonight. I'm hoping Denver extends it to a 7th game and we get some more basketball. Game 7s are always great because both teams got to lay it on the line or they're going home. So yeah, I think it'll be really, really fun and something to talk about with a lot of people for years to come.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back and then start watching that game and just really dig in, because it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one.
Okay, yeah, that was an amazing breakdown of the NBA and all the things in the world that have been affected by the social injustice and all the things that they've been dealing with. Really kudos to the NBA Players Association and the NBA owners getting together and taking a stand for these issues and trying to move forward. And really great to see games boycotted. Shed a lot of light on all the issues and problems, and I'm happy that we're moving forward in a better place. And onwards and upwards. Let's see real change happen. South of the border, north of the border, across the world. And really nice to see a lot of this, a lot of these problems being addressed and hopefully eradicated, and we can move forward as a more tight knit group. And you see it in many of these sports. Black athletes, white athletes, many other cultures are together, and they all get along really, really well. I don't know why it can't be that way in society too.
Yeah, they're a great model for how society could be potentially, and hopefully will be in the future. We just need to put forward the work so that we can all get there, so that we can all just be on the same equal playing field, so that eventually at some point in time, I don't have to explain to my kids why they feel that they're being judged. They can just be kids and just go out and play and not have to worry about skin color or anything else, because they just take the person as an individual, and that's it.
Well said. Very well said. Okay, I want to talk about the UFC. We both had an opportunity to watch the fights from last night's card, and we were entertained with some really good battles. The light heavyweight fight between Anthony Smith and Alexander Rakic was the main event. This took on a whole new meaning when John Jones decided to vacate the belt recently. And the winner of this fight was going to have an opportunity to possibly fight for a title once Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz unify the belt, and whoever comes out of that will be the champ, probably facing one of these two guys. Anthony Smith had come off that horrific beating, and it did not look very good in his last fight. A lot of people hoped that he was going to have a better showing. But Alexander Rakic was the dominant fighter in this one and took the decision. But I had lots of opportunities actually probably to end this a bit early. And how did you see the whole fight in the 15 minutes?
Well, first I'm going to say they created some heavy leg kicks to start, but as the round was going on, it became fairly apparent to me that Rakic was clearly the stronger fighter of the two, because his leg kicks started to really count more and actually even dropped him in the first. And then after that, it was just, I would say it was a snowball effect unfortunately for Lionheart Smith, where Rakic would just slowly began to wear on him, break him down, and then dominated him whenever it came to a grappling exchange, and he always ended up on top on the ground. And Rakic, dominant win, man. Dominant win by Rakic. He looked fantastic today.
Yeah,
or
sure.
yesterday, say.
Yeah. Last night, yeah, he sure did. Those leg kicks were just devastating and brutal, and actually put Smith down, like you say. Anthony Lionheart Smith was ranked number 5 coming into this fight, and Rakic was number 8. They might switch positions here in the standings, and Rakic gets his way. He might not be in line right away for that title shot, because he hasn't ever had a 5-round fight, and he was pretty new to the U.S. audience. I think this is the first fight he's ever fought on American soil. But the Serbian really, really well, 12-2. Just a very incredible warrior, and displayed his dominance once the fight went to the ground. He was definitely an incredible grappler, and had Anthony in a lot of compromising positions the whole 15 minutes. So it was a pretty fun main event. I think we'll see what occurs in that heavyweight title fight that we'll see pretty soon, and see if what these guys have coming up. The co-main event was Neil Magny against Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler has been around forever. One of the original kind of pioneers we seen in the sport for so many years. 28-15 record, has been fighting for so long. Neil Magny, I think showed Robbie that he's a little bit slow, and not able to handle the pace that Magny can put on him. And Magny looked to be the superior guy that night as well.
Yeah, Magny's game plan for Robbie Lawler was perfect. It was either all in or all out, meaning that either kept Robbie at distance or he gave him no airspace to breathe. And he kept Robbie Lawler off balance the entirety of that fight. He mixed up his wrestling, his striking, his jiu-jitsu attacks so incredibly well that Robbie never knew what was going to hit him from minute to minute or second to second in that fight. He never allowed Robbie Lawler to get into a rhythm of any sort in that fight, and ultimately that's what won Neil Magny the fight, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think of Neil Magny as one of those longtime pioneers, a guy that's been around as long as Robbie Lawler has. But that was his 17th win in the division. That's only 2 behind George St. Pierre, which really shocked me to see him on the list as the second most welterweight wins in the UFC. And he outstruck Robbie 121-7 on the feet. The Haitian sensation has a 3-fight win streak and looks to be able to capitalize on that big victory and move forward. I don't know what happens to Lawler now. That was his 4th loss in a row, and he does bring it. And you and I have talked about some of the epic battles he's been involved in, and he's a favorite of the UFC, but 4 losses in a row is tough to deal with. But Magny proved that he's a superior fighter and is going to be moving on. I think onwards and upwards for Magny, and I hope he doesn't catch and beat GSP, just selfish, reasons. But could you believe that he has 17 victories in that division?
I was actually quite surprised. I know Magny is a busy fighter. I know he's been around for a bit, not nearly as long as Robbie Lawler, but I had no idea that he'd already had 17 wins in the division. That's an amazing accomplishment for Neil Magny. That's amazing. It's amazing that he's behind the GOAT by only 2 more wins. I myself am like you. I prefer it if he retired, Go out on top, buddy. But nah, he's not going to do that. But I can only see, like you said, onwards and upward for Neil Magny. And let's face it, for Robbie Lawler, this is maybe the twilight of his career. He might be having to start to wind it down, so to speak. I don't know how many more fights that man has left in the tank, but whatever he does, I'll definitely tune in because he's one of those fighters that's action all the time.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. Yeah. Let's hope he gets an opportunity to face a guy that he's on the same level with at this point in his career, and he can just stand and trade with the guy. We've seen some epic battles with Robbie Lawler in there. So I hope this wasn't it for him. Hope he gets to go out on a good way. Let's turn to the women's fight right before this, the women's flyweight fight. It was Alexa Grasso's debut at flyweight. She looked very solid in that win. She was superior in her boxing abilities and everything that Ji Yeon Kim threw at her. Grasso just was the superior fighter and won the unanimous decision. 12-3 record, and it was a great debut. Glad she decided to start facing competition in this weight class. I think it's right for her body.
Yeah, I think so too. I think maybe she was putting a little too much strain trying to get down to that lower weight class. She looked fresh. She looked fit. Excellent combination striking coming from Grasso towards Kim, and just a dominant win against a very tough fighter. A very tough fighter, because Kim is more than willing to take a punch to give a punch, which she did at times, but Grasso was slick enough to slip some of those punches that was returned to her, as she was being counterattacked, and her combinations were definitely on point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good analysis. Definitely. Okay, so the fight right before this, Ricardo Lamas, Bill Algeo. Algeo making his debut, facing a really stiff competition in Lamas, and having to fight a guy that's had that much experience. It was going to be tough for a guy coming in, but Algeo ended up outstriking him in the first 2 rounds. Actually, Lamas was superior by far in the 3rd round, and the judges ended up giving him a 10-8 scoring decision. They ended up both getting $50K for the fight of the night. Really fun fight. One of the best fights I've seen in a really long time. Both really game and both very, very technically superior strikers. It was a great fight.
Oh, it was a fantastic fight, man. Lamas showed his heart in that fight. He showed his veteran savvy and his experience by taking the 3rd round the way that he did. Because he got rocked in the second. And it seemed like the momentum was shifting towards Algeo. Came back a little bit at the end of the second, and in the 3rd round, he put it on him. He really put it on Algeo. He set a pace, he set a tone, took him to the ground, and ended that fight with dominant ground and pound. He was definitely his moniker as the bully in that 3rd round, and He got the win, but it was not easy. That was not an easy fight for Lamas. He really had to dig deep to get that win.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I was impressed by this newcomer Algio. He fought a really game fight, but Lamas, I think in the between the second and third rounds, I think his corner told him, "Look out, you better bring it, or else you could be facing a loss here." And yeah, the incredible grounded pound and superior striking. It was just yeah, really amazing to see Lamas come back and win that fight and yeah, get himself 50K. Really great bonus for both of them and a super fun fight. Yeah, great takedowns and everything was yeah, on point for Lamas and good on him. He got the really big victory. Let's talk about the prelims. We turned to the featured prelim, which was Maki Pitolo against Impa Kasangane. And man, Impa, he was the favorite going in, 8-0. Didn't know too much about the guy myself. North Carolina fighter, came off that Dana White Contender Series. Actually just got signed on August 11th, his contract. And just came in and man, wow, what an impressive performance. Maki Pitolo, we just saw him fight about a month ago, you and I, and remarked at his strengths, and he's got some very amazing power in his hands. But Impa looked really great, and yeah, this was another fun fight to watch.
Oh no, it was a great fight, super close fight. Kasangane, again, like yourself, didn't know too much about the man, but as the fight wore on, he definitely was not afraid to exchange his 1-2-3 counter, 1-2-3 that he throw were so on point. Excellent accuracy with his punches against a guy that's a great striker in his own right in Pitolo. And I was extremely impressed. I was impressed with the way that Kasangane came out, especially for the third round. He wanted it more. I think he wanted it more. At the end of the day, he wanted it more, and he definitely took that third round at the end of that fight and got the win.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was really impressive third round by him, and yeah, he definitely did want it more. They were both incredible shape, 185ers. Yeah, huge shots. Both of them ate and just kept coming. Maki Pitolo, Hawaiian. We see so many Hawaiians come in and be able to handle incredible shots, taken and give. Coconut bombs. Yeah, I love that guy, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, it's great to see another Dana White Contender Series guy come in and so fast turn around after he signed his contract, get a big victory, and looking forward to more fights from Impa. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic to see him keep going. Okay, we had a middleweight fight right before that with Zach Cummings and Alessio Chirico. Zach Cummings ended up grinding out a decision win there. There was basically a knockout that happened right at the buzzer. And if that fight was 2 seconds longer, maybe even 1 second longer, it would have been a KO victory. He ended up getting his hand raised for the decision win, but a pretty impressive way to finish that fight.
Yeah, man, because unfortunately the fight was not as exciting as I would have liked it to be. They really took their time with their striking. Besides Zach Cummings doing the almost walk-away knockout, what I did hear a lot was from the ref was, please engage more. Please do something in there. I understand when sometimes you have to gauge your dance partner in there, and then he's as dangerous as you are dangerous. So your willingness to strike is somewhat muted. But at the end of the day, you do have to fight. And they did pick it up in the third. And that's what allowed Zach Cummings to have that, I believe it was a left high kick to the head of Chirico. And like you said, 10 more seconds in that fight's over. And that's a knockout win for Cummings. But it was a great win by Cummings and a great near walk-off knockout win by Cummings.
Yeah, it's too bad it wasn't a few more seconds on the clock when he threw that kick, but yeah, it was close to a buzzer beater. But he said it was the 7th anniversary of his debut on his weigh-in day, so he's been around for a long time. He was the favorite coming in, and yeah, definitely was cautious with the young guy, but yeah, got a great victory for Cummings, and he'll be moving forward. Let's talk about the featherweight fight that happened right before that. Alexis Bruce Leroy Caceres fought Austin Springer. Springer was making his debut and coming in. Came in 6 pounds overweight. As you and I have talked about week after week, a lot of these guys are missing weight. Caceres didn't give him much opportunity, though. Looked superior. Had an amazing rear naked choke, and pulled him out. That was his. He had 3 opponents pull out, and he finally got this guy to come in. Yeah, it's great to see Bruce Leroy. He's always fun and entertaining, and got a great victory. Really nice submission win.
Yeah, like sometimes Bruce Leroy, he can come out a little bit wild, a little crazy, but he really took his time with Austin. Really gauged him well as the fight went on, and eventually when he saw his opportunity, he capitalized on it very, very, very quickly. He took his back in a microsecond. That was a great transition to his back, and then sinking in that rear naked at basically the same time he took his back. Amazing. Great dominant win by Caceres. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch because he's just so exciting, and you can tell that he really does enjoy his time in the octagon. Loves what he does.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah, no, he's super fun, and he's on a 3-fight win streak now. Like you mentioned earlier, he comes in a little wild and crazy, and he has taken some losses because of that style. But I think he's getting older, wiser, and he's been able to calm that down. But when he sees openings and opportunities, he seizes them, and super impressive performance. Great submission. And yeah, fun guy. One of my favorite guys to have on the roster, and always see him come in, perform really well, and then great post-fight interviews as always. I think that's important because you get an opportunity to see the guy's personality once he's done.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because at the same time, these guys are building their brand, so to speak. And so anytime that you have a chance to speak, well, speak up, speak well, show the people and the audience who you are. Because as much as it's important for you to win the fights, it's also important for you to show your personality as well.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so let's talk about the welterweight fight between Sean Brady and Christian Aguilera. One of the cool aspects of having former fighters as analysts, as a lot of times these guys have actually trained with them. And Paul Felder had trained with Sean Brady. He said he had some of the most brutal submission chokes, and he's had to tap when Brady got a hold of him and choked him out. Brady took his advantage. Second round, got a really impressive guillotine choke and choked out Christian Aguilera. Sean Brady looked phenomenal in the performance, and got $50K for his great win. I loved it. Pretty impressive performance by Brady.
Very impressive performance by Brady, especially when they stood up on their feet for a bit, and then when he decided to take him down, he took him down with authority. Very powerful double leg takedowns in both rounds. And then finally, in the second round, I believe, when they finished the fight, he took a double leg takedown. And then once he was able to finally just get his arm around the neck of Aguilera, he never let it go. No. That was pretty much game over. Aguilera did his best to buck and try to get out of the position, but Brady was savvy enough to know that wasn't going to be a thing. He was never going to let him off the hook. And eventually, once he squeezed that sucker in, you saw his leg kick out. Like he was like, yeah, and it was over.
It was over. That was it. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, he sunk it in quick, and he transitioned a couple times to try to get it to a point where he wasn't going to be able to get out of it, and he did. He said that was a 10-year journey for that win, to be able to get into the UFC. I'm impressed with with his performance. He's 13-0. Has a bright future. It looks like a lot of those Philly guys. Very very impressive. They have to battle incredibly hard on the streets of Philly, which I've spent some time on, and especially the boxers that come out of Philly. I've always been impressed, and I always put money on them when I see guys from Philly. He came in and just proved Felder and his family and the UFC really right for signing him and getting him into a contract. And I'm looking forward to seeing more Sean Brady.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to that. The man's jiu-jitsu is definitely on point, and he is a problem. If he gets you to the ground, you're going to have a tough night. You're going to have to get up out of there quickly.
Yeah. Very fast. Yeah.
Very
fast. No kidding. Yeah. So to start the night, we had a couple of women's fights. Polyana Viana and Emily Whitmire had a submission. First round, minute 53 in. Anything much to add to that fight?
No, Viana looked good, and great win by Viana for sure.
Yeah. And start off the night, Mallory Martin and Hannah Cyphers had a really great battle. Cyphers had knocked Mallory down early on in the first round and looked like she might be able to get the win, but Mallory came back, ended up getting a submission a minute and a half into the second round, and also got a $50K for her submission win. Pretty great performance by Martin to come back after looking like she was in trouble in the first round and getting $50K to change her life a little bit.
Oh yeah, man. Like, she weathered the storm and she was able to turn the fight around when it looked at its most dire. She really showed the heart of a champ and the perseverance to continue to get past that tough part so that she could finally get the win with a great submission.
No, it was a really great submission. So top to bottom, it was a fun fight card. Lots of decisions, which aren't usually the most exciting thing. We like finishes, either knockouts or submission wins, and so the fight was okay. Fight card was okay, but it'll definitely do some shifting of some of these divisions. Obviously, that main event will start taking shape as the light heavyweight division deals with a new champion for the first time in many years, with John Jones not being there, Daniel Cormier not being there. We're going to see a new champion light heavyweight division really soon, and it was good to see these two guys have an opportunity at it. It looks like Rakic should get a shot quite soon.
Yeah, I think Rakic will definitely get a shot sooner than later. Clearly, once the whole light heavyweight landscape gets cleared up after the Reyes Lankowicz fight. So once that fight happens, you're going to see more of a clearer picture for sure.
Yeah. Some of these European names are a little bit challenging to say for us. So Jan Blachowicz, I think you pronounce it. And he's got this opportunity against Dominic Reyes, who looked Reyes looked fantastic against John Jones last time and almost was able to beat him. So I think I'd lean towards Reyes on this, but we'll see how it goes. Next Saturday, main event has Alistair Overeem against Augusto Sakai. Looking forward to that one. Any predictions, anything that you can see as we're about a week out from that one?
Okay, well, I would say that, Overeem is such a savvy veteran. He's such a savvy veteran. He'll definitely have a game plan for Augusto Sakai because Augusto Sakai, if I remember correctly, great kickboxer, fantastic kickboxer. And I don't know, actually, now when I think about it, I don't know if they've actually ever fought each other in the kickboxing world before MMA, but I think Overeem might change it up and take him down to the ground. And because I know that Augusto, obviously, he can stand and bang, but his skills on the ground might not be as good as he would like for right now. I'm sure that's something that he's constantly working on. So I expect a great fight, but I think in this particular fight, I think you'll see Overeem take Augusto to the ground and control him there.
Yeah, that's probably a really smart move on Overeem's part. Yeah, Sakai. Yeah, Sakai's. I don't see Overeem in any of his record here in front of me.
Okay.
He has fought some savvy old veterans in Bellator before he came onto the UFC. Czech Congo. He took his only loss to. We see some of the other guys that he fought, but no Overeem. Possibly in the like you say, in the kickboxing world before he joined in. Yeah, it'll be a fun fight to watch, fun fight to break down. A lot of other fights will come through, and we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, Jason, always fun to break down the UFC cards with you. I'm glad you got an opportunity to see this one, and yeah, I'm glad we were able to meet up on a Sunday and discuss last night's card and look ahead to next week. I'm sure we'll be able to do this a week from now, and yeah, thanks for your time as always.
Oh man, I look forward to it. Thank you for having me again. And the last thing I want to say is change is not easy. To affect change takes a lot of perseverance and hard work, and it will come in time. But it's a fight that so many people are getting on board because it's a fight worth winning and fighting. And so as we go through this in time, eventually, slowly but surely, we will change things for the better for ourselves and for our future generations.
Nice. Oh man, well said as always. Yeah, I look forward to our time every week, Jason, and it's nice to see the world changing. We obviously had a world changing moment with this pandemic, and it caused the world to have to stop for a few minutes and reflect on the things that are right in the world and the things that are wrong in the world. And obviously, when this Black Lives Matter movement came on, everyone was finally able to really shed some light and say enough is enough. We're not moving forward anymore with these things happening constantly. It's been a 400-year battle, and yeah, I'm sure there's more battles ahead, but it's great to see some really good moments coming as the change is happening, and maybe the change won't be too far into the future.
Yeah, for sure. Amen, brother. Amen to that.
Amen. Okay, I'll send you on your way. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week ahead. I'm sure we'll be in close contact and look forward to next time. Thanks so much, Jason. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye for now.